Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome everyone. We're going to give you guys a few minutes to join in, but welcome to our 2021 EIU Expert Panel. So excited for everyone to be here today. So excited to hear from our amazing professionals here at EIU showcase what this transition is going to be like for you and your student this fall. My name is Omar Kill Solomon. I'm a regional admissions counselor here at the university. I'm also a proud alum. I graduated in 2009 with a degree in communication studies. I'm so excited to talk to you guys and answer any questions you may have on EIU. We're going to give it a few minutes and then we will introduce our panel of experts. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you watch this. You know, we're all in a virtual world, so you never know when things will be seen. You know, we're always on demand, just like we are on demand to help you and assist you through the college process here at Eastern Illinois University. I just made that up. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My name is Omar Kill Solomon. I'm a regional admissions counselor here at EIU. I'm also a proud alum. I graduated in 2009 with a degree in communication studies. This is the start of my 11th year in the profession, so I've been doing this for quite a long time, and I'm regionally based in the Chicagoland area. So I'm so excited to moderate this panel for you guys because we have a panel of experts in their field, but also experts in everything that is EIU to help you and your family through this EIU transition as we prepare for the fall of 2021. I know you guys have a lot of questions, and we will share our information at the end of this meeting, at the end of this presentation for more details. I'm going to allow our panelists to introduce themselves. I will turn it over to our panelists from housing.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jeremy Alexander. I serve as the Associate Director for Housing and Dining Services. Like Omar, I'm also an alum of EIU and also have been in this profession for going almost 12 years. I can answer anything related to housing and dining services and trying to make sure that you have the best experience as you make your transition to your new college home.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for that. I know housing is definitely on the mind of a lot of students, and speaking on what's on their mind is what's coming next, and that happens to be orientation. And representing our Office of New Student and Family Programs, I will allow our representative to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Dunahee. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am the Assistant Director for New Student and Family Programs here at Eastern. Like Omar and Jeremy, I am an alum of Eastern as well, and I've been here for 3 years full time. So if you have any questions about orientation, feel free to let us know.
Thank you so much for that, Beth. And during orientation, a very important thing occurs. You have to register for your courses. So who's better to answer those questions than our representative from the Office of Academic Advising? So I will allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Juanita Cross. I'm an academic advisor here at Eastern. I'm one of 6 professional academic advisors that help our students register for their first semester. I am a 2-time alum, and I have probably heard every question a new student has, so I'm happy to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Juanita. And a lot of students will always have questions on, how am I going to afford college? So finally, our final representative is from the Office of Financial Aid and Scholarships. I will allow her to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mallory Fonseca, she, her pronouns, from Financial Aid, also an alumni, and hopefully I can answer all of your questions about scholarships and financial aid today.
Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day or night You never know when someone might watch this, so it might be the day for them. But thank you for taking so much time out of your busy schedule to answer questions for our students that they may have for this upcoming cycle. And let's go over to the first question real quick. So we polled our students and we put together 10 questions that our panelists are going to answer for you guys today. So let's kick it off with the first question. And this is to anyone. What is the typical day like for a student here at EIU? I remember my time. I think it's a little bit different now in 2021. But what is the typical day like?
I'll jump in because, you know, if you're living on campus, you're going to be waking up in one of the residence halls, depending on where you're on campus. If you're a morning person, you might end up and grab some breakfast in one of the dining centers. We do offer meals from as early as 7 a.m. in the morning to as late as 1 a.m. in the following morning. So you'll be able to get a variety of different meals depending on what you want to do. A lot of students will jump and go to the rec, again, if you're a morning person, but most students would be just getting ready to head towards their classes. You have classes across campus, and for the most part, our residential communities are very closely commingled with where academic facilities are. So for the vast majority of students, they don't have a long commute to go to their classes. And then it's just a matter of, all right, your classes, group meetings, if you're in group projects, being a part of a student organization, if that's something that you're involved with, you're going to the rec or just hanging out with friends, depending on what your day might look like.
Thank you for that, Jeremy. Would anyone else like to add anything about the typical day for an EIU student?
I can add something. So for students, it's a little bit different. Classes begin here. The earliest class you're going to find at Eastern is 8 a.m. But I do have some students who start their day earlier if they are involved in maybe something like ROTC. They're up a lot earlier. Depending on your schedule, you may have 1, 2, or maybe 3 classes. That is something that your academic advisor will talk to you about, what you want that format to look like. Typically, I'm trying to talk to students about what other things they're interested in. Are you working so that we have a nice balanced schedule so that you're not overwhelmed on any typical day?
Juanita brought up a really great point about working, and that kind of even segues. There's a lot of opportunities for on-campus jobs. Our department, in fact, every department on campus pretty much hires students to do a variety of different things. So going again, depending on what your work schedule looks like or what your class schedule looks like, on average, a student might only be in class for a handful of hours in a day. But a tip I always give students is think of your week as your work week. So you might be in class for a maximum of 15, 18 hours. A good chunk of the balance of that 40 hours for that work week, you probably want to do that on homework, studying, and getting prepared. And if you do that, you'll be pretty much set. For every hour in class, you might want to spend maybe an hour to 2 hours working on things for that class.
Awesome. So to quote Frozen 2, you guys are heading into the unknown without the high note, but we're here to help guide you. Once again, I'm here with all the jokes, guys, because college is fun and I want to make sure you guys are comfortable while watching this video. I'm going to give this question towards our representative from the Office of New Student and Family Programs. What advice do you have for students transitioning to campus? What will make us successful here? So if you want to talk a little bit about the orientation process, and feel free, I need to jump in as well from the advising side, but just any steps for our students.
Yeah, so at the orientation day, you will have the opportunity to meet new students as well as our current students, which are our orientation leaders, and they will help guide you through the orientation process. So they'll help you get registered for classes. They'll make sure that you get to the Panther fair, which is our resource fair during the orientation day. And that is when you can meet all the different departments and resources that are available to you on campus. So I highly suggest that you take full advantage of what we offer during the orientation day, because there is so many ways that you can learn and figure out how to prosper when you're transitioning to campus here. Also, we have what we call Prowl, which is our welcome weekend. So after you move in, that first weekend, we have a lot of activities to help get you connected to campus and get you connected to each other. So that is a big thing that we are very excited about for this upcoming year. And then one thing that I think is very important for all students to be successful, it may seem very, very simple, but checking your email. Make sure you're reading everything from the top to the bottom of the email and don't miss anything in between it. So make sure that you're checking that, which is your Panther mail or your EIU email. We start sending you emails to that Panther mail at your orientation. So once you start getting those, make sure that you're reading those and keeping up to date with that because there are very important details and information that you need to know. So make sure that you're keeping up with that Panther mail.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Would anyone else like to add anything else for our students making that transition?
I'll share from the housing perspective. So you've gone through orientation and then you're moving in on move-in day. And we have a couple of different days that students will be able to move in August. But once you move in, making sure that you get connected with a housing staff member on your floor. So the vast majority of you will have a resident assistant and they're there to be a guide, sometimes a friend and someone who can connect you with a lot of things. They're typically going to be sophomores and above. So then they're very familiar with EIU and they've gotten a lot of training about what's available to our various students. And apart from that, you also have building directors who themselves are also very familiar with all of what EIU has to offer. So making sure that you get connected with those folks, because a big part of their job is to try to help you to be successful. And while they're not necessarily a college professor or lecturer, they can help you with a variety of different tips on how to do college well. So please utilize them. They're there for you to help you to be successful.
It wouldn't be a presentation if you didn't talk while you were on mute. Our next question, what do you or the students that you guys work with like most about EIU? I know I can share, and I can just kick it off. I can just share from personal experience from the admissions side. Being the recruiter from the Chicagoland area, but also I've recruited in Southern Illinois, students love just the size of our campus and how you can get from point A to point B in 5 to 10 minutes, depending on where you're walking to and depending on the weather also as well. But they also love that it's such a strong sense of community. You have people from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, very inclusive campus that engages with you and challenges you. So a lot of students really enjoy that part of EIU because we always are willing to learn more and also willing to grow as a campus community. So I hear that a lot from my students. Anyone else would like to add a few things?
I can add something, Omar. What I like most about hearing from my students and also as a student is what I'm hearing is the connections that they make with faculty members. And this year has been really challenging for our students with everything going on, but our faculty are always there, responsive, working with students. And so although this was a challenging time, I did have a lot of students at the end of the semester say how much they enjoyed their classes and how much they appreciated their faculty members reaching out, helping where they can. So they're really making a lot of good connections with their faculty members.
And I think that's indicative of like all the staff at EIU and everyone at EIU, where people will get to know you for you. You know, is everybody going to get to know you? Probably not, but you're going to make several really close connections who will end up being mentors, friends, guides that will help you through your entire college career and even beyond. I've had stories of students that have crossed paths with me years ago and still been able to keep up on what they're doing with their careers and seeing them become a fully fledged adult, doing all the adult things, buying homes, having kids, etc. So it's that close knit where people are invested in you, people get to know you, and you're not just a number here. You are an individual, you are a person, and people are going to try to figure out what does this student need to be successful? So what does Beth need to be successful? And then we're going to try to connect the resources, services, or things that we can do to help. And even go beyond what's even just available on campus. People will do that for our students. A lot of our staff does that for students regularly.
No problem. No problem. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right. And this question is for, our Office of Academic Advising is very important about that transition. I know you students will have a lot of questions on how do I register for courses or how do I get in contact with us? And I know we get a lot of those emails here in the admissions office, and we are so happy to have a representative from the Office of Academic Advising here to answer these questions for you. So when should you contact your academic advisor, and how do they help you throughout this process? So feel free, Miss Juanita, to take that away.
All right, I'd be happy to answer this. So you will meet your academic advisor for the first time at orientation. And so we are going to review your curriculum, your goals, what majors you're interested in. But that's just the start of the conversation. So if you have any questions over summer, and so orientation begins in June, but we also have dates, all the way through July. But we are always here to answer questions. Each of the advisors is going to give you their contact information because there may be questions about AP credit, dual credit. Maybe you changed your major. Maybe you're thinking about 2 majors. So when should you contact your academic advisor? Whenever you have a question, at any time. We're happy to help, and we can change whatever we need to change even after orientation. So what do they do to help you do? Hopefully get you closer to your goals, and also help you find those resources you may need on campus, those extracurricular activities that we're known for. So yeah, I would say we meet for the first time in orientation, but that's just the beginning of our relationship.
Awesome. It's so important, man. The academic advisor, I feel like here in the Office of Admissions, it's kind of like a football game for those who like sport. We hand the ball off to the Office of New Student and Family Programs, who helps the student with the orientation process, and then they hand it right off to the academic advisors that gets them registered. And all throughout the entire process, you have an umbrella. You have the coach of the team, which is a financial aid, helping you out throughout the entire time. And then you also have your running back in the Office of Housing and Dining, because we gotta feed the rock. So speaking of which, transitioning to our representative from the Office of Housing and Dining, what new policies or procedures do freshman students need to be aware of for this upcoming school year?
It's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for a lot of people, because as we're transitioning out of a pandemic, there's going to be some unknowns. But essentially, we're going to be working with our students to ensure that we're taking care of your well-being, safety, and all the usual things that we would have to do. But we'll still probably do a lot of the extra cleaning and type things that we would have done in this past year. One of the things that's going to be a little bit different from in years past is move-in day. We're going to do a couple of different move-in days that allow people the option to be a little bit more flexible in their schedule to come on one of 2 days to get in to their residence halls. And then from there, they'll transition into their parole experience and then into classes eventually. For the most part, it's a little bit more status quo of a year, but some of the more finer details about what exactly fall 21 will look like is still being refined. As we know, the CDC came out with guidance about masking, and the governor repealed some of the expectations with his masking mandate. So some of those rules are going to be adapted and changed as we get to fall. So I can't say specifically exactly how it's going to look, but we'll be definitely looking at what the Illinois requirements are, what CDC is saying, and then additionally what is best for the campus community to ensure that everything is working well. But kind of going along with that, one of the things that we've done this year is we have allowed an opportunity for incoming freshmen, if they're interested in getting a double as a single, there's a grant that they'll be able to apply for that would apply for the cost of that double as a single. And typically it's for students who are Pell eligible that will cover all of the costs. If you're not Pell eligible, then it will cover the majority of that cost. A couple of weeks ago, an email was sent out to all of our incoming students with instructions about how to make that request. And we are processing through those and making sure that we can accommodate all of our students who are requesting to be in essentially a double as a single. But if our students want to live with a roommate, which is a very big part of the collegiate experience, I'm still really great friends with my roommate from college from almost 15, 20 years ago. You know, students still have that opportunity. So you'll be able to utilize our RoomSync network to find people, or if you meet people as you come down for your orientation dates, you can work with Housing and Dining Services to say, hey, I met this new person and I'd like to be able to room with them, and we'll do our best to try to accommodate that request.
No problem. Definitely. Thank you for that, Jeremy. And I know that we are, you know, as we move closer to a new normal, I still think virtual will be here to stay in some places. So I feel like I can speak for admissions, but probably maybe all of our departments, virtual appointments are going to still be a thing moving forward. So just once again, that's another opportunity to get those questions answered, be it financial aid, orientation, and or academic advising. So I still feel like the Zoom is going to be here. And I feel like that's just another, to me, that's another great resource for access for all of our students entering EIU in the fall. So thank you for that. All right. And this question can be for any of our panelists. What resources are available to our students that are struggling in the classroom? Sometimes it's tough to make that transition. We have students that have been virtual, and this is going to be their first time potentially taking in-person or hybrid classes. So what resources are available? Jeremy, maybe you could speak on inside of the residence halls, and maybe Juanita, if you could touch on things that our academic advisors or Student Success Center provides.
Sure. One of the things that we do from the residence hall side, so housing and dining more specifically, is we've partnered up with the academic side of the house with our early alert system. So if a faculty member notices a concerning behavior about a student, so a student was an A+ student and all of a sudden they're doing D-level work, you know, something's happening. So they initiate this early alert, and what a housing staff member will do is try to come back and say, hey, Jeremy, notice that something's going on. We recognize that the student is not separate from the individual. They're both the same person. And, you know, so things could be happening in your personal life. You could have financial issues. You could have a variety of different issues. So it's about an honest conversation about what can we do? What resources can we connect you with to help you to be successful? Or it could be as simple as you could have been me in college and realize that biology just does not make sense. And what's the most appropriate way to drop that class if that's an option for you. Additionally, it's just looking out for your personal well-being and helping you again to try to be successful along that path, and trying to help you to get to whatever that success goalpost looks like for you.
I can jump in here, and I'll piggyback even on the housing side. I know as a student, my resident advisor was a great resource for me, who was someone always there, someone that I could talk to and just kind of bounce ideas off of. As far as resources, if anyone is struggling, I'm going to name a lot of resources that we have, but really you can always reach out to your academic advisor who can remind you of resources. One resource that students don't always think about is their professor in the classroom. They have office hours and they are there to help you with the material or just extra support. We also have free tutoring. We have student success workshops. We have the writing center because you will be writing some papers in college, I'm here to tell you. And we also have our medical center if you need health, if there's a health issue that's maybe that you're struggling with. And we also have our counseling center. So if there's some mental health, and we do see some of that, there's a lot of stress that goes on with transition. And so we're here to help Again, you can always reach out to maybe your resident advisor, your academic advisor, and also your professor. So you have plenty of resources, and we're here to make sure that you're successful and that you have a successful transition.
And definitely every department here that's represented today, but also all the faculty and staff members are here at EIU. We are always here for our students. We're truly all in from the moment that you step foot on campus as a prospective student to when you are enrolled here at our university until you walk across the stage. Our goal is to help you reach your full potential. All right. And speaking of potential, let's talk about the potential cost of this university. I'm just on a roll today, guys. I love it. When will my financial aid or scholarships be applied to my bill? And then also, Mallory, feel free to just touch on just anything about the financial aid process that you would like to add on as well.
Of course. So any aid that you're receiving can't apply until after your classes have started. So for most students, that's going to be somewhere around the first day of class. If you happen to have classes that start mid-semester, some of your awards might have to wait until then. So it might just kind of depend on that end. So if you do happen to notice that you're not in a full term class, let us know and we can kind of give you an update on when certain awards might be delayed or partially dispersed in certain periods. But yeah, most of your aid will disperse right at the beginning of the semester. We'll have a disbursement day the very first day of class, and then our normal schedule starts 2 weeks later. So for some students, it'll be the first day of class. Some students, it might be early September instead.
No problem. So you heard that first here, students. Sometimes the first day of class, sometimes that first day of September, but don't, if you have that question like, oh my God, where's my finance? Don't worry, be patient. It is coming, and we're gonna make sure that you are awarded here at EIU. All right. Now, what precautions are in place to help keep our students safe on campus? So this can be referencing campus safety and things of that nature.
Right. So and if you're talking about specifically the residential communities, all of our residential communities are keyed off. So you have access to the building that you're residing in, on the floor that you're residing on, and to the room that you're residing in. So for instance, if you're in one of the taller buildings or high rise like Andrews or Lawson, because you live on the third floor doesn't mean that you automatically get access to the 8th floor or the 2nd floor, for example. So when you get into the elevator or into the stairwell, you actually have to use your key to get into that space. So that's from the physical safety perspective. In addition to that, we have our night assistant program, which is a group of students who are trained and they're up late at night, basically keeping eyes and ears out, typically between midnight and 4 a.m., augmenting our university police department, who are also doing regular patrols around campus. So those are two of the other things. Another resource in that is our resident advisors. Again, they do a variety of safety rounds and checks, again, looking out for the safety well-being of our students. When it comes on to, if we're talking about some of our COVID response for the last year and what might spill over into the next academic year, we'll continue to look at what the established guidance is and adapt policies, procedures that will allow us to be responsive to that. So some of the things that we've done for the past year is that we have heavily modified all of the services that we provide on campus. But if I talk more specifically about housing and dining, all of our meals were grab and go, and we had very limited seating inside of the residential dining centers because you needed to de-densify a space. So some of our dining centers could accommodate on a busy day 300 plus students. We actually capped the capacity to under 100, and in some instances even lower than that. And the grant that I mentioned earlier, if a student felt that they really needed to get a single room for themselves, that is another opportunity for a student who wanted that chance to do that. So we'll continue to adapt as the guidance continues to change. I don't have a crystal ball to say exactly what it's going to look like for 21 fall as yet, but I anticipate that it's going to be a lot less strange than it has been for the last year. And that's as far as I'll commit to that one.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for that. We definitely, EIU is always consistently ranked as one of the safest college campuses in our region. And I think we really want to make sure that we are doing everything in our power to make sure that our campus community, and that includes our students, our staff, our faculty, are safe to interact with you guys. So we will continue to send updates. We have a COVID-19 dashboard, but we will always continue to send communications to our students and our families to make sure that you guys are in the know to any changes that are going to be happening in the future. All right. And Jeremy, just you touched on this a little bit, but feel free just to touch more back on that, the grant opportunity here at EIU.
Right. So there's two ways that a student can do a single, well, there's several ways actually. So you can try to get a physical single, but those are a very small number of rooms, I'd say maybe one or two per floor. Then you can do a double as a single. A double as a single usually has a cost associated with it, $850 per semester. With this grant opportunity, students will be able to say, I would like to have a double as a single, and by applying for this grant, they're actually, if you're Pell eligible, it will take care of what that cost would be for the entire academic year. If you're not Pell eligible, you'll have up to $750, I believe, that will be associated with you. So I'd say go back into your emails and look at the invitation that you got a couple of weeks ago, and we'll also still reiterate it a couple of different times. The deadline, I believe, for this is July 15th. So you want to get that in as quickly as possible. But we're working on the first round of housing assignments pretty shortly here. So your best chances of, because this is also contingent on space being available, there's only a finite number of rooms on campus. So if you wanted to make sure that that's something you wanted to have, getting in your housing application and then your housing contract in as soon as possible. Our first round of housing assignments are anticipated to go out very shortly, not much after the Memorial Day weekend. So you want to get that in as soon as possible if that's something that's interesting to you.
No problem. And let's move over to our Office of New Student and Family Programs. Beth, if you want to share, how's orientation going to be like for the fall of 2021?
Yeah. So our transfer students have already been having a couple orientations already to this point, but there are still several going into the summer. But all of our transfer orientations for summer and fall 2021 admits are virtual. So you will be receiving an email with all the instructions on how to access the virtual orientation, which will include a D2L course, which is Desire to Learn, which is our learner management system here at Eastern. And we'll explain how to use D2L, how to access your Panther mail, how to get into pause to reach your financial aid, all of the important things that you'll need to know during your time here at Eastern. So we'll do that. And then we will also put you in contact with your academic advisor, and they will help you get registered for classes for the term that you're admitted for. So that will be for the transfers. For the freshmen, you have an option to do a virtual session or an in-person session. The in-person sessions are limited to 20 students with a 1 guest limit as well. And those are going to be half-day sessions. So those will be either in the morning or in the afternoon. And you will be able to meet with the other incoming students. Like I was mentioning earlier, you'll be able to meet with our orientation leaders, and you'll also meet with your academic advisor. And during that academic advising appointment, like Juanita said, you'll talk about the curriculum that you might be having. You will get ready or figure out what classes you want to take. And then you'll meet with our orientation leaders to help get you registered for those classes. So then at the end of the in-person day, you will leave this orientation session with your class schedule for the semester and your student ID with your Panther card. So that's kind of what the in-person orientation days will look like. For the virtual freshman orientations, it will be a welcome in the morning, and we'll have the academic advisors give a short presentation about what to expect during the academic advising appointment. And then you'll be able to log back into your advising appointment throughout the day, and you'll receive an email through about a week prior to your advising or a week prior to your orientation day with your advising appointment time. So you'll be able to log back in at that time to meet with your academic advisor. And once again, you'll meet with your advisor, talk about the curriculum, get registered for classes. The only difference is, since you're virtual for those days, you won't be able to get your Panther card that day, but we have options for those that attend a virtual orientation to come to campus in a smaller group, informal setting, and we're calling those Panther preview days. And those are going to be specific afternoons that you will be able to come to campus, get a tour, see everything that we have to offer at Eastern, and then you'll be able to meet with offices like financial aid, with the housing and dining office. Anybody that you want to talk to will be able to meet with you during that day. So that is kind of what the Panther preview days and orientation days will look like. If you haven't already signed up for your orientation, you can do that on your MyEIU. Freshmen will need to make sure that they pay their enrollment deposit, and then you'll see a checklist item on your MyEIU for orientation. And if you have already registered for orientation and you decide that something is conflicting and you can't make it to the orientation day that you selected, you can just reach out to our office and we'll be able to help you get that switch to an option that works better for you. So yeah, I think I covered everything there.
No problem. Definitely. Thank you for that, Beth. And Juanita, feel free. You're more welcome if you want to add anything from the advising perspective on that.
Sure. Something that our office will be doing is, for our in-person freshmen, we are going to have a pre-advising sheet that we would like you to fill out. It's just going to give us some information about, your major, how committed you are to the major, or if you're undecided, that's okay too. Also, what your favorite class was, and then we'll have questions on there about AP credit, dual credit, and also we want to know about your hobbies, your interests. We're also going to have a virtual pre-advising form for our virtual students. So we're going to try to get that information a little bit earlier so that we have a better conversation once we are in our advising session.
Definitely. Thank you for that. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today for our 2021 panel of experts. We are in a virtual world. I cannot wait to see you all throughout the move-in day process. But as you can see, we have our contact information on the screen and also our social media, but I will allow each department just to say their final thoughts with you, share their final thoughts with you, and then we will bid you guys a farewell. So I will turn it over first to Mallory in Financial Aid and Scholarship.
Thanks, Omar. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for coming out and spending this little time with us today. Always, as we mentioned before, check your email. Feel free to keep applying to scholarships on our scholarship search engine, which you can get to from Eastern's main page just by scrolling down a little bit to that search for scholarships icon. Click on that and then scholarship search. So continue applying scholarships. Let us know if you have any questions.
All right. And next up, we have Jeremy from Housing.
Hi. So for us, you're going to spend maybe 15 to 18 hours in a classroom, and then you'll spend a great deal of the majority of the rest of that time in a dining center in your residence hall room. So make sure that you are getting in your housing applications and your housing contracts in as soon as possible so that you get your first choice at which building or area that you'd like to live in, and that we're here to help you to be successful. And our resident assistants, our ARDs, and full-timers are all looking forward to seeing you in the fall. And have a great rest of the summer, and reach out to us with our contact information if you have any questions about anything regarding housing and dining.
Thank you, Jeremy. And now let's move over to Beth.
Yes, so like Jeremy and Mallory said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our Office for New Student and Family Programs. We are super excited to get to see you on campus for orientation this summer. And then if you are taking a virtual option, we are super excited to get to see you in August for move-in, prowl, and the start of classes. So we are super, super excited. Can't wait to have you on campus and be a Panther.
And our final expert, Juanita.
I just want to say thank you for watching, listening to us. My final thoughts are to reach out to my department, any department, with any questions that you may have. there is no question. It's a big transition, and so we welcome them. You're welcome to either call us or email. Our email is a general email, but we will be in contact with you if you have any questions anytime over summer.
Thank you for that. And once again, my name is Omar Solomon from the Office of Admissions. Enjoy your summer. We cannot wait to see you in the fall. One thing, my final tip for you all is, if we get to a new normal, I want to see you all get involved. I know you guys are chomping at the bit to get involved in clubs and organizations, fraternities, sororities, you name it. So truly take advantage of that opportunity here at EIU. It's a very vibrant campus community, and I can't wait to see you guys on move-in day. Thank you guys for attending our panel of experts. And if you have any questions, you see our contact information on the screen. Until next time, EIEI, EIU.